Berberine is a highly researched plant alkaloid, a natural compound that is directly derived from botanical sources, like the barberry shrub. Clinically, it is recognized for interacting with the cellular pathways that govern blood sugar regulation and cholesterol management. But analytical biochemistry presents a strict paradox. A compound's theoretical potency in a petri dish is irrelevant if the human body cannot physically absorb it. To force berberine into those metabolic pathways, patients typically have to consume massive, frequent oral doses. Left in its raw, unmodified botanical state, the compound operates with severe inefficiency when subjected to the hostile environment of the human digestive tract. We can solve this biological roadblock by engineering a molecular derivative, making a deliberate structural alteration to the parent compound to change its physical properties. In this case, that specific derivative is dehydroberberine, or DHB. The berberine molecule on the left is nearly identical to the DHB derivative on the right. The variance exists only at these isolated molecular nodes. This specific structural modification allows the compound to survive, transforming a stubborn botanical into a highly optimized metabolic tool. The primary biological obstacle for any oral supplement is the intestinal epithelium. This highly regulated layer acts as a strict security checkpoint. For berberine to influence blood sugar, it first has to survive stomach acid, navigate the lumen, and physically force its way across this enterocyte layer. We can map this journey directly. In this cross-section of the intestinal epithelium, a gross intake dose of berberine arrives at the top barrier. The immediate failure rate is massive. The vast majority of the parent compound is violently expelled by efflux pumps or rapidly metabolized. Out of the initial intake, a microscopic fraction successfully permeates the barrier and reaches systemic circulation. This exact drop-off rate dictates the dosage requirement. You have to swallow overwhelming amounts of berberine simply to guarantee that a tiny clinical threshold survives the drop. The gut barrier operates as a hostile filter, destroying most of the parent berberine compound before the body can utilize a single milligram. This specific survival rate is defined by a rigid biochemical equation, bioavailability. Represented by F, it calculates the amount reaching systemic circulation divided by the total dose administered. When we plug berberine's behavior into this equation, the resulting F value is exceptionally low. A massive denominator yields a tiny payload. A low F value triggers confounding physiological consequences. The body is now tasked with processing, filtering, and excreting the massive volume of wasted compound left behind. This surplus creates a metabolic tax. The liver must work overtime to process the unabsorbed mass. Blindly increasing the dose fails to solve the problem. It multiplies the metabolic tax without delivering a proportional increase in cellular absorption. Bioavailability is the ultimate biological bottleneck. It dictates the true physical cost and the actual efficiency of any health intervention. Returning to our model of the intestinal epithelium, we subject the dehydroberberine derivative to the exact same biological obstacle course. The altered molecular structure changes its physical interaction with the lipid membrane. The derivative slides past efflux pumps and resists immediate gut metabolism. The result is a surge in systemic payload, as a dramatically higher percentage successfully enters the bloodstream. Contrasting this directly against the berberine baseline proves the massive discrepancy in absorption efficiency. DHB preserves the metabolic payload while successfully navigating cellular transport. Engineering a structural derivative forces the body to accept a compound it previously rejected. This dynamic falls under pharmacokinetics, the specific study of how the body moves, absorbs, and utilizes a chemical compound. The core rule of pharmacokinetics is visualized here. Clinical efficacy is the product of base bioactivity multiplied by total absorption. The identical starting dose of berberine collapses, while DHB retains its mass. DHB's massive advantage in absorption acts as a direct efficiency multiplier. To hit the exact same concentration in the bloodstream, you require a fraction of the physical dose of DHB compared to raw berberine. Ingesting a smaller physical dose directly reduces gastrointestinal distress and prevents unnecessary liver strain. True superiority in clinical supplementation requires absolute cellular efficiency, bypassing the need for brute force volume. Once the absorbed compound successfully crosses over into systemic circulation, it rapidly deploys directly to the target tissues. Both berberine and DHB are hunting for the exact same cellular receptors responsible for blood sugar and cholesterol regulation. Inside the target cell, the fundamental mechanisms of action for both compounds are virtually identical. Looking at these receptors, DHB's superior pharmacokinetics translate into a dense, high-volume wave arriving at the destination, while the berberine wave remains sparse. Consistent, high-volume receptor saturation is the mechanical trigger required for optimal metabolic management and sustained blood sugar control. A highly bioavailable derivative ensures the active compound actually survives long enough to arrive at the metabolic battlefield. Berberine and DHB run the exact same biological race, but DHB is structurally optimized to survive the hurdles. Dehydroberberine operates as a mechanically more efficient vehicle for achieving specific metabolic goals than its parent compound. Berberine's bioactivity is proven and documented, but chemically it remains a blunt, mechanically limited tool. This comparison highlights a strict reality across the landscape of supplement science. Bioavailability and absorption dictate the true frontier of clinical nutrition. Analytical biochemistry allows us to extract natural botanical foundations and rigorously perfect their delivery systems for the human body. Dehydroberberine proves that in the pursuit of human health, how well the body can absorb a tool is exactly as vital as the tool itself.